Australia was thought to be a desert as far as the practice of magic was concerned, because generations of researchers had worked their way through archives and libraries and memoirs and reminiscences, not a word about magic. But these people who were looking in the archives were looking in the wrong place. G'day, Nick.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Yes.
We've come to have a look in your stables and see what we can find, if anything.
This is one of almost 50 properties historian Dr. Ian Evans and his research team are visiting in Tasmania.
Can you see it, Nick?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, but that's definitely a traditional burn mark.
Well, I've noticed these things before, but not really taken any great interest.
This humble stable dates back to 1840. And Dr. Evans thinks these burn marks are evidence of a very different time in Australia.
The purpose of these was to, so far as we're able to understand, to inoculate the building against fire. So they used fire to fight fire.
Oh, it was quite surprising, really. I didn't think there'd be much here, but we found quite a few of them. There must have been a superstitious lot, probably, to do all this.
A single mark at an almost 200-year-old Tasmanian estate sparked the inquiry.
It's commonly known as a hexafoil, and it's thought to be a mark that averted evil. And so you find these at points of access to a building, and this is the first one found in Australia, so it was quite a surprise.
He's since found these distinct symbols in other states across Australia.
The story of magic in Australia is written on the walls of our old houses.
With so many heritage buildings intact, Tasmania has been the perfect hunting ground for evil-averting markings. And now other researchers are joining in.
These sort of marks of inhabitation, but are clearly a really good indication, a representation of the people who live there and the cultural practices, especially when they're such strange to 21st century minds' cultural practices as these.
University of Tasmanian architecture students are documenting and photographing the symbols to future-proof them.
We don't know what will happen in the next century or so, and these stalls may not survive. It's just one of those things. So it's a precaution to make sure that the information is retained and preserved for the future. And then done.
Dr. Evans' latest fieldwork is being funded by the University of Hertfordshire. Similar burn marks have been found in England, including at the world-famous Tower of London. Back in Tasmania, the evidence isn't just on old walls.
Late 18th century and throughout the 19th.
The State Library has been unknowingly harbouring a clue for more than 40 years.
This item came into our collections in 1970, and it was just a fairly nondescript little farm notebook. We hadn't really thought much of it. Then Dr. Evans contacted us.
It turns out this almanac, written by a farm manager in the 1800s, has a very interesting story to tell.
He operated as a unqualified medical practitioner within a local community. So he was widely known to have knowledge of herbal remedies and how to find a missing cow and all that sort of thing. It fundamentally alters the way we think about colonial society and what was actually happening.
Years of research that have taken the world of magic from fantasy to history.
It's been a great privilege, really, and I've enjoyed it, even though it's been very hard work and it's been very stimulating. But we found something that nobody knew was there before, and that's a great feeling.